Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Dentistry in 4D, teaching you how to market your practice in a digital age. I'm Brandon Platt. I'm the owner and founder of 4D Digital Media. I appreciate you joining. However, you are joining today, whether that is via the Wisdom app, where we are currently live, via podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, listening to Dentistry in 4D. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe so you catch all of the latest episodes. Or if you are watching this on YouTube, hello everyone. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button below so you don't miss all the great content we have coming your way. Also, be sure to comment on YouTube. Any questions that you might have, any comments you might have, any feedback you might have, so we can make these as informative as possible for you. But thank you so much for following along thus far. Hopefully you've enjoyed that content. For those of you on Wisdom or on the listening via podcast, make sure you head over to our YouTube page where you can find even more great content on the YouTube channel. You can find that at 4D Digital Media 202. That's at 4D Digital Media 202. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get all of the great content coming your way there. Some great stuff coming at you in the future, and also hopefully some very useful content so far. And like I said, any kind of comments, feedback to make this as educational as possible, be it presentation-wise or even content-wise, things that you haven't seen on our channel before that you'd like to see, or tips and tricks that you've seen that you haven't seen before. Of course, on Wisdom, we always appreciate our Wisdom listeners listening live. I know that it has been a minute, but we welcome all of those listening live, including Christopher Martins. Thank you so much for listening to us. Hopefully you'll find this entertaining, and for all those of you who join in here in a little bit or even listen after the fact, again, thank you so much for listening. Hopefully you find this educational. Today I want to talk about 5 tips specific to dentistry, but it also has a crossover to really any industry. And it's 5 marketing tips that are going to get you started on social media, to help you start your growth on social media today. If you try these 5 tips, I promise you're going to see some growth. Obviously, you need to keep up with it. There are other things to do. There are an extensive list of tips and tricks we can give, but I want to hold it to just 5 today, just to get started. Very, very simple, 5 very simple things that you can do really on your own without any kind of marketing assistance, and then you can grow from there once you kind of have an understanding. But even if you don't have the ability or the capabilities to hire an outside marketing agency or hire an internal marketer right now, these are 5 things that anybody can do at any time on their social media channel, for their practice, for their business, what have you, regardless of what the sale or service or product that you have, that you offer, or how you offer it. These are 5 tips that you can use. So without further ado, let's get down to it. The first thing is be consistent. And you probably heard this before, but if you're posting once every couple of months, you're probably not going to get a lot of traction in the algorithm, regardless of the platform that you use, be it Facebook or Instagram being the top 2, probably for a lot of people. As far as the general public goes, especially where they're consuming their information. Twitter to an extent, although I think that's dropped off a little bit, and Twitter is very specific. We'll get to that a little bit later. Or LinkedIn if you're looking for more of a professional marketing opportunity. So be consistent. What does consistency mean? I see consistency as 3 high quality posts a week at minimum. Between 3 and 7. If you're posting every day, great, but make sure that they're high quality posts. Don't post just to put up information. But I also will say that you shouldn't be limiting how much you're posting because you're afraid to saturate the market. If you have high quality information to share, be sure that you share it. if you have if you have something to say, make sure that you say it. I think it's important to make your presence known, but there's also a way to do that without consistently seeming like you're selling or pushing, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But be consistent. So really set a time for yourself, be it every couple of days, every maybe every I don't know every 2 to 3 days, and at roughly the same time during that time period. Do some analytics work, do some background research. There's a lot of different tools, including Facebook, that you can look and see when a lot of your followers or subscribers are actually online, so you can make sure that you're hitting your target audience as much as possible organically, and post during those time periods. So do a little bit of homework. Pretty important. And we do a little bit of talking in this video right here in our tips and tricks section, which you can check out our tips and tricks playlist right here. But we talk about how to stay consistent. So check out that video for more details about how to stay consistent on our YouTube channel. For those of you listening live, those are references to other videos we have. So check out our YouTube channel at 40 Digital Media 202 for those. The second point is to be unique and personal. So when I say don't act like you're always selling something, if you're a dental practice or a dental profession, it's great to push the procedures that you're trying to run, right? It's great to say, if you specialize in dental implants, to push dental implants. If you specialize in wisdom teeth or extractions, or crown lengthening, or gum procedures, or laser dentistry, or what have you, if you offer all of that or you specialize in it, yes, by all means, push those services. But every single post that you make should not be specifically about those services. If it is, then I think you're going to end up turning a lot of people off, especially if you're posting consistently over and over and over again, because people are going to just pass it by as it goes through their feed. It may get picked up by the algorithm. Your impressions might be higher, but impressions don't matter if you're not getting phone calls or butts in the chairs, if you're not getting conversions. So make sure that you're not consistently selling. And how do you do that? Be unique. Come up with unique posts. Be personal. Let people into your life. Let people into your practice. Let people behind the scenes. Maybe it's just people having fun around the office. Maybe it is something about a cause that's important to you. Perhaps you have family members who have suffered from or been affected by certain types of cancer. For example, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so maybe in October you're doing a lot of push about breast cancer awareness, treatments, risk factors, how to get checked out, etc. So things that are important. Maybe during National Diabetes Month, you have somebody in your family who's diabetic, and so you're pushing insulin for all, and you're pushing insulin availability and affordability for everybody. And it's more than just dentistry, or it's more than just your product, or more than just about your business. It's about the world around you. And consumers really want to know that the world around you is important to you, and you're not just about the business. Let people into who you are, because if they know who they're buying from, or they know who is treating them from a dental perspective, they're going to be more apt to make that phone call. They should know you before they even contact your business or your practice. They should feel like they've known you for years, because you should let them in and be unique and be personal. That being said, use in-office content whenever possible, and that goes beyond. This is tip number 3. This goes beyond just in-office, like procedural stuff, right? So yeah, of course, show yourself at work, show yourself interacting with patients, show your team interacting with patients, but also give some background and, like, from a technology standpoint, like people, if you're a dental practice, maybe it's people that are getting digital x-rays taken, digital imaging, CT scans, etc. And the process of that. Have a doctor within the practice or a team member talk through some of that, and be able to explain the process and the reasoning behind it, and why it's important, and why you offer it, and what it can do for patients. By the same token, if you're selling a product, or a service, even if like you're an insurance company, and you're selling insurance, or you are an auto dealer or an RV dealership, something like that. It can be great to show some behind the scenes stuff. Don't just show the products, but show people working, show people interacting with customers. Be a family atmosphere. Give as big as you are, as big as you want to be. Never lose that family aspect of we care about you and you are part of our family. And by letting people in, it gives them the opportunity to become part of the world that you live in on a day-to-day basis, but it doesn't seem to be overwhelming in just a business at that point. Number 4, make sure reviews are getting responded to, positive and negative. Now, it's important to remember from a dental perspective, in any kind of medical practice, that you have to adhere to HIPAA guidelines. So you're going to be a lot more general than, say, if you're selling cars or you're selling RVs or you're selling insurance, because as people leave positive reviews, no matter what they say, or even if they say, hey, I had a great experience, this is the procedure I had done, you cannot reference that they were a patient and you cannot reference that they had that procedure done. Where if somebody bought a car from you and said, I had this great service and I bought this car, you can very easily say, thank you so much for buying X car. We really appreciate seeing you and please come back. So it's a little bit different in that regard. But if you're a dental practice doing this, have kind of a templated response to some extent, but change it up so it's a little more personal for the positive responses. But let people know that you read it and let people know that you care. Thank you so much for the kind words. We really appreciate your feedback. Things like that. I mean, things that are not going to identify any sort of information or say that they are a patient. Thank you for the kind words and the fantastic review. If there is an issue, if it's anything less than a 5-star review, I'd be extra special careful that I responded to that. And make sure if there's any kind of issue, regardless of what it is, that you ask to have them contact the office directly, or the company directly, or you ask for a way to reach out to them to discuss further. You don't have to actually acknowledge that they were a patient. You can just say, I'm very sorry to hear that, or something of that nature. Obviously, if you're a medical practice, not giving any personal identifiers or information that they were a patient. Please call our office so we can discuss your concern further. And then that way what it does is it allows people to see, look, you guys are really concerned about what's going on, and you're very concerned about making sure that things are corrected and right, which obviously is very important because a lot of times those negative reviews are based on nothing malicious. They're based on a misunderstanding, or they're based on miscommunication, and that happens from time to time. You try to limit it as much as possible regardless of the industry that you're in. But it does happen from time to time, so it can be a little bit difficult. So make sure that you are that you're responding to those in a way that is understanding and with some concern. The other thing it does is it gets it offline, so you don't have this argument going back and forth. Don't try to dispute anything actually on Google in reviews in front of God and everybody. Try to get that offline. It can only end badly for you if it looks like you're trying to argue with the client. Remember, the patient or the client or the customer is always right, regardless if they're right or not. And so it's important as a business or as a medical practice in any business sense to make sure that you're being contrite to that and you are understanding of the concerns, and you get it offline and then have the conversation elsewhere. Have the conversation over the phone, have the conversation in person, etc. So it's not out there airing your dirty laundry for everybody to see, and then you can dispute on top of that. Now, will people ultimately ever respond to that? Probably not. 99% of the time, you'll never get a response back from any of those negative reviews, but at least it is out there and it shows that you do care. And the fifth and final point that I want to make, as far as dental marketing tips and marketing tips in general, to kickstart your growth on social media, is knowing your target audience and which platform you want to use. And this goes, it should go without saying, I think, but I think a lot of times it goes by the wayside for people because of current trends or things they see friends or colleagues doing, and they don't really focus on the why for certain platforms. For example, if you're a dental practice who is really specializing in dental implants and in implant dentistry, in your target population based on your geography and your demographics of the area that you treat and you serve are an older population. And by older, I'm dating myself here a little bit, but I mean probably over 35. 90% of your, I'm making statistics up on the spot a little bit, but a good chunk of your patient population and your client base is going to be on Facebook. If you're looking for a middle younger population, 20 to 35, really 18 to 35, in that range, you're probably looking more Instagram, TikTok. Obviously, a younger population would be probably more TikTok. So really understanding which of those to use most and what type of content to put on there is really important. The other thing of note is this may or may not be common information, but in 2022, Instagram was really focusing heavily on Reels and video, and their algorithm was skewed towards favoring video over photo content. And recently, the administration and the upper entities, what have you, of Instagram have come out and said that they felt like that was a little bit of a mistake. And so now in 2023, it's not that they're not valuing video, but there's more of a balance within the algorithm for video and photo content. So things like carousel posts, where you have multiple photos on Instagram and people can swipe to see the various photos and videos, are going to be really important and really big, I think, this year, in my opinion, based on that information. The other thing based on that information, because there is a balance now between the two, is I think that using carousel posts with video included in there, at least in some aspect, is almost going to be a double up for you. And it may not be for the algorithm, but it allows you to kind of cover all your bases, as well as obviously your hashtags and all that. So knowing what kind of post to put up on there versus like a Facebook, where Facebook layout as it posts multiple photos, first of all, you can't post multiple types of media, so it's either photo or video. And second, as you post multiple photos, it just lays it out one by one. There's not truly a carousel feature, etc. So the layout is a little different. Is it going to get the same result? Yeah, probably. People are going to be able to see it all. Typically what I will try to do is, especially if I want to combine video and photos, I will do it in a way where the video and the photos are combined into an MP4. So it is a actual photo, it's an actual video file that will run on Facebook, and that way everything can be once it's all in one place. People will see it as a video, people will click on it as a video, and you can now also add a little background music to it as well if you wanted to make it a little bit more appealing. So knowing that's important. I mentioned earlier Twitter kind of taking a little bit of a backseat, and especially in the dental world, I feel like, first of all, again, knowing your target audience and where they're coming from. Is it bad to be on Twitter? No. Are you ever going to be Twitter famous and still get clients from that? I would say at this point, and let's never say never, but at this point, especially if you're looking at an older client base, it's not very likely. Twitter is great for engaging with your customers and with your clients. And so if you have a good following and you can be really witty and on top of it and post a lot on Twitter, I think that you can get some traction there. I would not count on Twitter at this point, in my personal and professional opinion, to get you a lot of clients through the door. And I think that a big reason for that, again, is the target audience and the fact that Twitter, has almost become kind of a controversial, a place for controversy, a little bit, and the more controversial posts and the more hot takes, quote unquote, posts on there are typically going to have the most response to them. That's kind of always been the case with Twitter, but I think that has even taken to a new level lately. So we'll see kind of how that develops. But I would, if you had to choose to budget your time between platforms, I would stick with the big three, which are, in my opinion, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and then you can kind of relatively post on Twitter kind of as you go through with some of that. Particularly from a medical and dental standpoint, where you're looking to really make sure that you present yourself in a certain way from a medical standpoint. Not to say that you're not trying to in other businesses, but you can tweak your branding a little bit to fit however you want to be perceived. If you're a dental professional and you want to be, and you want your branding to be that of being edgy and young and hip, then by all means, I think that's a way to go. But by and large, Twitter's gonna. I don't know that Twitter's gonna be your best option right now, at least based on everything, to get the most patients out of that from a dental perspective. So hopefully that helps. Again, everybody watching on YouTube, thank you so much for joining our channel. Make sure that you subscribe. You subscribe down below, wherever it is, down there somewhere, and we'd love to get you to get all the notifications so you continue to watch our content. Make sure you comment below as well, so we can get some feedback, make these videos as educational and as useful for you as possible. I know this is a little bit longer, a lot of information to share in those 5 tips for getting you started with your growth on social media. For everybody listening live, up to 14, and I'm sorry, I don't have the chance to read off everybody who's listening right now, but up to 14 people listening live. I know it's been a while since we've been on. Hopefully you guys find this information useful in some regard. You can take even a little bit of something and apply it. That's our goal, that every talk that we do, there's something that somebody can take from it and be useful. And of course, everybody who has subscribed to the podcast and listening wherever you get your podcasts, thank you so much once again. Make sure you head over to our YouTube channel and check out all the tips and tricks that we have available to you. Again, that's at 4D Digital Media 202. 4D Digital Media 202 is our YouTube channel. Plenty more tips and tricks that we have in broadcasts and other mediums over there that are exclusive to YouTube. Shorter videos that can really be great for you, especially if you're trying to start a YouTube channel and really get that off the ground and running. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. Happy Thursday. Have a great weekend, and hopefully some of this you can take and run with it starting today. Take care, everybody.